My guest today is the person I picked to be Player of the Year 2018, and so far, so good, I would say. But the end of the year might be the most important part of the year. So let's see what this guy thinks about the end of 2018. Massa, how are you, man?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for inviting me to this. I'm looking forward to this kind of podcast with me. And yeah, I'm excited for the end of this year.
Yeah. Before we get into the end of the year, can you tell us what was your way into Trackmania? How did you start the game?
I actually bought this game in a store, like when I was a kid. I don't even know how old, probably like 12, 13. And I played with a friend, just offline basically, against each other. Played some maps, built some maps on our own. And yeah, then one day, got internet, got an own PC, and then I just went online, and now it was just way better. And after some time, I got into the kind of tech scene, I would say.
So, what was the first online maps you played? Was not tech or?
No, it was actually LOL. I
Okay.
played back then with a pretty famous Norwegian player, actually, MP. I don't know if you know him.
No, it's before my time, man.
Before your time, Robbie. Yeah, he was like making the maddest maps. And yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed his series. Played basically LOL and short maps.
Huh.
But that was like the first maps I ever played. Yeah.
So, how? What was your way from the LoL scene into the tech scene? Was it just natural, or was it something that you wanted to do because you
Mm,
saw other maps?
I was just playing a lot of LOL. Then I started playing short because he made short maps actually, the MP player mapper. And yeah, I started to like them, like sliding and shit, and like getting better and better. And then I saw there are also longer maps and better competitions, and then I slowly got into it. And then I got like my first team for short competitions basically back then.
What kind of year are we talking about at the moment?
That was like 2011,
Okay.
10, 11, 2010, 11. I got my first team, and it was German clan, or Getting Control then was our name, GC. And yeah, we had a good time there. And after some time, I evolved kind of to a tech player because actually, how I went there or how I got there was because I bought a pet. I got so good with a pet. I don't know how. I got way faster on the short maps, and then I tried longer maps, and yeah, it worked out. So
So you would say that buying a pad is one of the reasons why we see you in the esports scene at the moment.
yep, definitely.
Oh,
Pet helped me a lot, but I have to say, I also played back then with many friends like Formula One and Gran Turismo and other stuff on PlayStation. So I was kind of used to a controller slash pad,
yeah.
and then I bought one for the PC, and yeah, it worked out pretty good.
I've had some guests on at the moment or before when I asked what kind of teams they were in, and most people say that in the start they were sort of a team whole. They went from team to team. What was your history in the teams? Was it stage wise going from one team in one year, then the next one in the next year, or what is your history?
I was actually kind of sticking with the same people always. I would say my first really good team was Replica or Druids called back then. It was Replica, I think. And it was actually kind of funny because the first matches I played, I didn't know like what's going on, like how the competition works. I was like 15 or 16, and I didn't really care to be honest as well about gaming. But yeah, I tried to play. I was good, but sometimes I just didn't train and showed up, and I didn't really know how the match works. And yeah, that ended up badly. So I got kicked there for being inactive or like not trained. And yeah, after some time, I started a team with Poker, Acerich, and some other old people. It was our own team, and then we kind of made our own name, to be honest, in the tech scene from like TMM maps, 40-second maps
Yeah.
till like ESL, and that's how it built up after. It was like within a year, we kind of got to a really high level. And then 2012 was basically the big change for me, going to Dignitas.
Yeah, how did you end up in Dignitas? Who recruited you? Was the Berge the one who got you into the team, or is it someone else?
It was actually Bergie. Yeah, it was Bergie. I was playing back then with Infused. We had many like we had our own team, me, Poker, and the other guys, and then we went into Infused, picked up by Nilos. He was the first guy I would say who picked us up and realized we were actually good into a decent org. And then like after half a year or something, we dominated basically, me and Poker always. And then we split up. He went into Acer, the Infuse guys went inactive, I went to Dignitas, and yeah.
Would you say
I
that
just
being a team with Poker helped you being motivated, or would you have ended up in the same position you ended up in without him?
mm, probably would have ended up the same way because I was always playing back then. Like I got better and better, and that's what kind of motivated me.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe I don't know. It's hard to say. He helped, that's for sure, because we had good times back then.
What went through your head when you joined Dignitas? Was it a long time goal, or was it okay? This is cool, but it just happened.
I think back then it was just it's cool, nice. I didn't really know that Dignitas was like in other games, and was never really into other games. It was always Trackmania. It just started after some time that I played other games, and yeah, I just saw that Dignitas is actually pretty damn big org, I would say.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I wasn't really super hyped, but I was kind of hyped to play with the people there, like Spam, Bergie, and DVD, and Mandioka, and Carl Jr., and Karian, and yeah, all the others. I
Yeah.
hope I didn't forget anyone. Jono.
Yeah, and it's safe to
Insane.
say that the group that you joined back then are sort of friends now because we see you hanging out on streams at the moment. Even though Bergie has left the game, he's still hang around with you. How important would you
Yeah.
say that being friends with these guys have helped you stay in the game?
That's quite big actually, because I had motivation issues. Well, I always had, and they really helped a lot. Like, I'm not a guy to practice alone. Like, I can't just put up the game, play the music, and practice, or watch something and practice. It's just impossible. I don't know. So these guys really helped me. Without them, I wouldn't be here. That's for sure.
Is there one guy that you could say helped you more, or is it just the overall feeling of being a group of friends playing together?
Well, I guess you can say it's Spam and Bergie,
Yeah.
because that's like always the two I played with. That's the two who motivated me. That's the two I have the most contact with. So I think it would be hard to like choose one, but I would choose both. So they're long-time friends, and yeah, hopefully for quite some long more time.
Yeah, and a good example of this is your win at Games Assembly 2016 when you and Bergie kind of trained a lot together. How what was your motivation before this event, and how much would you say that training with him helped you winning the event?
Well, I had to prove a lot, I would say, in 2016. And Bergie was definitely a big strength for that, proving this, because he trained always with me, I trained always with him, he motivated me, I motivated him. I think it's just very important. I think people have seen that though. Like I see many teams like M&M Gaming is the best example. I don't know other teams as well. Um, they always practice together now.
Hmm.
It's really helping out. Like you don't go offline after half an hour. You stay longer because you talk about something, because you try to get better on the maps together. Because maybe this guy has a tip or something. I mean, yeah, being with others is really helpful, and especially Bergie had way more experience than me, so gotta respect that as well.
And when we are in the topic of Gamers Assembly, how did it feel to win Gamers Assembly?
Honestly, I didn't expect me to win, um, and also the grand final didn't really go like in the favor of me. In the end, I won, but I didn't really expect it. I wanted to prove it that I can go in the final, that I can maybe win, but I didn't expect it, and it was kinda stunning. I don't know. I was surprised.
Was it?
I wasn't really super happy. I was just, feelings basically.
Yeah. Is it a moment that you don't realize what happens, or was you like, okay, I did it, and yeah, it's fine?
Yeah, it was like a moment I realized I couldn't really realize what happened. Like, how the fuck did I win? Oh, sorry. How did I win? Like, I don't know. It was basically the last round. I don't know if you know it or
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
it or seen it.
Yep.
The last round was crazy because, well, maybe you have to start in a different way because Kappa was leading by quite some bit. And that was this one round where Treen caught up a lot in the end on him and he kind of threw it away. In the next round, I was having like a crazy run. I almost had world record during the match. And then sort of Bergie denied him, I denied him, Tween denied him. Then we were all finalists at some point. And the last round was really nerve-wracking. Like everyone was into each other until like I think third last turn or fourth last turn. And that's where it basically decided everything. And it was me, I think, and then Bergie second. So I didn't realize that I could win this round with like Tween, Bergie, and Kappa playing. But after I did, it was pretty. Yeah, I was happy.
Would you say that the finalist mode killed Kappa, and would you say that the finalist mode is a good sort of viewing experience because in the last round, all four of you could have won it?
I think it's a good viewing experience. Like that's for sure. It's way better than the ESL Cup mode or however you call it without finalists, because you never know who's gonna win. You know, like you can always come back. If it's 40 points, 30 points, if it's your map, you can come back. If you feel the map, you can always come back. And I think that's what people always have in mind. They always still believe in maybe, their guy. Like fans still believe that Bergie can win it or Kappa can win it or Carl can win it or whoever you want to name. So I think that's really, really good because people will always support all the way. They don't be like, oh my god, it's lost. Because if you can't come back, like, I don't know. I think this is really good. I like it this way.
My last guest was Kappa, and he told me after his win at Gamers Assembly the year after, his motivation sort of dropped. But your motivation didn't drop after your win. What is the reason why you have kept the motivation up and we see you in grand final after grand final?
I have to say that kind of. I don't know if it's luck or if it's just skill, but I get to every final. Not always through the winner bracket, mostly through the loser bracket. I usually like always lose one match on lands, but I somehow manage always to go to the final. I don't know what it is, but I keep my motivation up if I play with other people and if I see that I'm worse than people. If I see that I'm worse than a guy who I shouldn't lose to, then I'm motivated. I'm not really motivated when I just practice for my own. I don't know. I need some kind of motivation. That's usually another guy beating me. That's what motivates me.
Do you have a specific example of this, or?
Yeah, actually, it's quite recent. It's the Trackmania ProLeague going on right now, and I'm going to have my first match on Wednesday in 2 days. And we played some practice matches, and I lost to everyone. Because, yeah, I didn't really play much, or like I missed some tracks to train. And I noticed kind of there, what are you doing? You should maybe practice some. Why would you lose to these guys? I mean, not to BM, but I should win against most of them. And that's what kind of motivated me in the last few days. So I guess that's a good example.
Yeah, talking about Trackmania Pro League Season 3, what are your goals and how motivated are you to go to Paris Games Week?
Let's go first with motivate the Paris Games Week. I took it maybe a bit too easy the past few weeks. Like I think you need to get top 7 to get into the next stage, and then probably only top 14 to get to Paris Games Week. So I don't think I'm gonna have a hard time or shouldn't have a hard time. But I also have to respect the enemies because they're getting better and better. So I think I'm gonna have an easy time going to Paris Games Week, but I shouldn't underestimate it. So I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. If this seed also doesn't really matter apparently for the next stage. So I will probably be motivated super hell if the next stage is coming up for Paris Games Week, Because right now it's just stage 1, and then there's going to be stage 2, and at stage 2 it counts for Paris Games Week. So right now I'm just kind of chilling and trying to get to stage 2, which shouldn't be a big problem.
But don't you think that this is sort of a good thing that you don't have to be fully 100% all the time, because then you might end up being burned out when the Paris Games Week actually shows up?
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, I had a good break since J basically, so that's quite some months, like 4 months. And I enjoyed that time off, and I can play some again. I'm maybe not fully motivated, but I'm kind of motivated. And when I'm in the matches again, and I can see I can do better if I train more, it will give me probably more motivation. And it's really nice that you can lean back and train maybe a bit less than others. But I guess it's fair enough since I'm playing this game way longer than yeah, most of the people participating.
People describe season 3 as a battle between three players: yourself, Carl Jr., and Pack. Do you agree with this? And if not, who else can win it?
That's a really hard question because we have seen in practice people are really, really good. We haven't really seen that in the past seasons or lands. So it's hard to say right now. I don't know. It depends on a lot of things, like what people are gonna show in matches. Like, let's say Roa recently has had his match, and he was really looking good in the matches and practice matches. I mean, and in the training sessions, but he couldn't really beat Pack. So that was kind of surprising to me that he wasn't close to Pack or actual finalist when he was. So I'm curious. I don't know. I can't really say. I think Tween has a really good chance. He has been no-lifing a lot apparently, but he has also done that for GA this year, and he kind of disappointed, I would say. So it's always hard to say. I think it should be us in top 3, yes.
Yeah.
But Omnipods, Roa, Tween, those are the 3 I would say can, yeah, be a struggle for us.
Would you call the Trackmania ProLeague the most prestigious event out there at the moment? And what is your general feeling about this format and tournament?
Definitely is, in my opinion. It's also the most advertised tournament, I would say. Maybe not from the DO and Ubisoft and so on, but from the player-wise or community-wise. What was the second question?
Like, what is your general feeling about it? What did you think
Oh,
when season 1 popped up? Was it immediately something that you liked, or had it been like a road to get here where you enjoyed the tournament?
I mean, I always had a good feeling about the Pro League. Like, I think it was really needed. The only problem was, I mean, what problem? You have to start somewhere. It wasn't really like 100%, set up, done, perfect. But we are getting there, I think. Season 3 looks really, really good. But I always supported Pro League, always helped out where I could. I promoted it, and I still think it's gonna be the best thing which is ever gonna happen to Trackmania.
Yeah. I remember when after Games Assembly did something, I asked a question on Twitter saying that the two events for this year seems to be over, and you contacted me and saying this is not true. There might be something else popping up. But would you say that the future for Trackmania is brighter than it was before?
Yeah, I would say definitely. From what I've heard, I can't really say a lot because sometimes I get some informations which are not always true or not always for the public, but
Yeah.
I think we can look forward to the future, yes. And a lot is going to be decided at Paris Games Week, obviously.
Yeah.
For certain reasons. And yeah, I think Paris Games Week this year is going to be the most important event maybe for Trackmania. We have to show that we have viewers, community, fans. That's what matters.
Yeah, and you yourself has joined a big organizations in big. How much do they expect from you at, let's say, Paris Games Week?
I haven't really talked about it. They know there's Pro League. They know there's an offline final. They picked me up because I'm the best German player, or at that stage I was the best German player, or I am, whatever. They knew me through kind of Onyo, kind of thanks to Onyo here.
Huh.
Because these are actually the Mouse Sports founder back then, and they knew Onyo from Trackmania. So obviously they asked him if I'm good and so on, and that's how we kind of got in contact. And they picked me up, and they know I'm one of the best players there. They know I'm the best German right now in tech, and they just expect me to get to the offline stage.
Huh.
Maybe win, maybe. There's not really expectations, to be honest. They just want to promote me and want me to play good, want me to feel good. It's more of a family, to be honest. And so far, I've been part of like 3, 4 good orgs, and this is the best by far.
Huh. In what way? Because we don't see any other Trackmania players there. Why is this organization so good for you?
Let's say if I want something, I get it, and if I need like social media support or any kind of media stuff or stuff for myself or dance support or they're there, and they're German, so it really helps out a lot.
Would you say that if you have a lot of success and win Trackmania Pro League, this can open the door for more players to join big, or is it limited to one player only?
Right now, we're limited to one player just because Trackmania is not the biggest game, and they wanted a single player, so they found the game in Trackmania and me in as a single player. Obviously, we tried back then to get spam into it as well. Yeah, but they didn't really want another player. They just want a German player, a good player, and yeah.
Yeah.
We might see it in the future, I would say. But right now, Trackmania is not big enough. I'm hoping for next year. It's all depending on the game. It's not depending on big. It's just depending on the game.
Yeah.
But it's not worth getting a second player. Like, nope.
Yeah, I
Not
had
worth it.
Softy B on, and he said that he likes this sort of when one player is in each team, because then you have battles between teams instead of having all players gather in expert. What is your view on this? Did you like the past where all the best players were gathered in one or two teams, or now that we see them more spread out?
I think you have to also, see that back then was more like team tourneys. There was always ESL team tourney, there was TMM, there was like basically everything. It was all surrounded about that. And then there was this one LAN, or maybe 2 LANs max a year. And there was just, single players going. There wasn't really an online league for 1v1s. Maybe Giant Cup back then and so on, but they're not really important or weren't never important. Now it's getting super important. More orgs are supporting the game. This also means more viewers, more fans. So I think it's the best what could have happened right now.
Huh.
Like everyone in an own org, maybe 2 people in one org. That should be the max, and that's the best for the game.
2 weeks ago, I believe, I asked if people like to watch solo events or team event. When you are not playing yourself, what kind of events do you like to watch?
Honestly, I only watch Pro League
Okay.
and LAN events, but I'm playing them myself, so I don't really like to watch team tournaments because it's always the same. I just know who's gonna win. 90% of or 95% of the time, I know who's gonna win.
Yeah.
Like it's just, in my opinion, it's pointless. It's pointless to play unless you are like a new player, and I think that's what should be in the future. You have these teams like, I don't know, with like 10 players maybe. You have team cups, you play here and there. Maybe I'm gonna stand in for someone, or mix team with someone else. And when you are getting like better and better, then you can join maybe an org like big or whatever, and get a star player, good player, better player.
Yeah.
I think that's how you should start now. Join a team, have fun with them, grind, and when you're at a certain stage or you enter Trackmania Pro League, then get a good org. I think that's what the future is.
Yeah, some people contacted me after the Softy B interview, and he said teams are kind of pointless. But I also think he agrees with you that teams are a way of building up players and then getting
Yes.
up to the best stage you can possibly be.
Yep, I definitely agree with that. Yes.
But are you going to Paris Games Week, or are you going to Paris Games Week and Giant Cup? Will we see it 2 times in Paris this year?
Yeah, I will go to both events, 100%. Already settled.
What is your
Not
motivations for Giant Cup compared to Trackmania ProLeague then?
Well, Giant Cup, I've seen the maps just for like 5 minutes each, but they suit me a lot because they're like mini tech. That's where I come from, like I said earlier, and yeah, I think they fit me really, really well. But the format is also different, and I think that also fits me. So I'm kind of looking forward to Giant Cup, yeah. And I will see how much I will train for it because there's also Pro League, and I will prioritize Pro League way, way more because also probably my org is going to be there at Paris Games Week. So that's where I have to deliver and not Giant Cup. But then again, I will put up a good fight at Giant Cup and try to win, of course. But yeah, we'll see what's going to happen.
Do you agree with Tween? He said that the Giant Cup is more prestigious than the Gamers Assembly.
I mean, it has more prize money. I guess that's the only factor. Giant Cup is a big name. Maybe that's why also he says that, but I don't really know.
Yeah.
Gamers Assembly has been there for years, so that's kind of prestige for the Frenchies at least, because 90% of the people are French participating there, and like maybe 5-6 people international. And Giant Cup is in Paris. That's first of all better than Poitiers for most of the people, and more prize money. I don't know. I don't think so. Not yet. You can't really say that. Not yet.
You're talking about most people being French in the game. What is your view on it? Do you like that, let's say, 90% of the people in the game are French, and we have sort of a French community and an international community?
I mean, that's basically because of the game is French, and the publisher is French, and everything else. I don't really mind, but I would prefer that, yeah, it would be more international, obviously. Right now we're getting some Germans in, I get some more viewers or fans from Germany because of Big. And I would like to see that from every country. And if we have that from every country, then we can call our game good or ready for esport.
Do you think that we will see an offline event in Germany in the nearest future?
I mean, maybe. There are tournaments actually, but like small ones. So I don't think there's ever gonna be a big tourney for Germany. Maybe like depends. Like if it's going to like DreamHack or ESL1, you never know. It could happen. Maybe not next year, but next couple of years. It's all depending on the game itself. You can't really say anything. Everything is possible. So
yeah. We talked now about the next part of 2018, but let's talk about the first part of 2018. You winning Gaming Winterfest and placing second at Gamers Assembly, or was it second?
Yeah, it was second. Yeah.
How would you describe your start of 2018, and are you so far the player of the year?
Well, I would say 2018 beginning was kind of rough. The motivation wasn't really there. We also had Pro League, I believe, season 2, and that really didn't go so well in the beginning. Just in the finals then, and I got beaten by Pack. I got second at GWF was next, I think. I got first. Pack wasn't there, so it wasn't really like super prestigious for me, but I won a LAN again. That's what mattered. And at GA I got second. So I would say right now Pack is definitely the best of the year, without a doubt. Carl Jr., I mean, he only played online tournaments so far because he's living in Canada. But yeah, he's still one of my favorites, to be honest, for this upcoming season. So we will see what he can deliver. He just had a bad match, to be honest, in the final. I think he got third. Yeah, he got third in season 3 and season 2. So I would say right now it's Pack. Then it's obviously me because Carl didn't really play that much and didn't really perform yet. And yeah, I think that's gonna change though.
You think it's
We'll
gonna
see.
change? You're gonna beat Pack or
I think everything's possible. I think I can beat Pack and Carl
yeah?
if I have a good day and I maybe improve some mistakes, maybe play a bit more safe, and I think also I can just get third or fourth or maybe worse. And I think that can happen to anyone.
So it all comes down to who is the best at that match in the final.
Very likely, yes.
Yeah. I don't remember who said it. I think it was Tween, but he said that the Mania Planet 4 update is helping you a lot because of the less Ramstein bug. You can be more risky. Do you agree with this?
In the beginning, I was like a bit, well, wasn't really positive about it, about the update, because I was kind of missing the bugs and risking the Ramsteins. Now everyone can do it. So I don't really know what to think of it yet. I mean, it has been out for quite some time, but I believe more people go now over corners where they usually never went. So I don't know. It's hard to say. I think it suits me obviously because I can't really fly out anymore. But then again, other people learn to risk more now. So I don't know. Maybe not.
Let's see.
Yeah.
But can you tell us, because I'm going most likely to my first Trackmania LAN event, what was your first LAN event and what is your experience from it? And do you have any tips for people that might go this year for the first time?
Oh, my first event was 2014 in Paris, East WC. I don't know, just be humble, be yourself, get to know everyone, and yeah, you're gonna have a great time.
But did you feel any nervousness before it? Because in 2014, that is some time ago, you had less experience. Was it nervous before going there, or was it like, okay, let's see what happens?
I wasn't really nervous to go there. I was like kind of happy to go there
Yeah.
because I can finally meet all the people I know from online. The actual nervousity was in the matches because I never really had offline matches and people watching me. I was super nervous back then. I have that under control now, but I would say the first one or two lands, I would say I was really shaky and nervous always. But now I'm confident. I know that I can always go to the final, and that helped me a lot. But in person-wise, like meeting all the people, I think that's really great, and that's one of the most reasons why people go to LANs. It's not because of the actual game; it's because of people meeting from the game.
So you
In
would
my
say
opinion.
that the more offline events helps you also with the motivations during the sort of breaks.
Yeah, definitely. I'm always looking forward to offline events because I can meet the people. I can show that I got it on LAN. I can hang around with them, do stuff with them. I think it's really great. Also because you know most of the people for such a long time,
Yeah.
and it's always great to see them like once or twice a year. So it's always a highlight, kind of.
And maybe go to some parties with them. I asked Kappa who is the most fun to party with. What is the real answer here? Who is the most fun to party with in Trackmania?
Oh, oh yeah, that's hard. I would say it's a Czech guys, definitely.
Yeah.
I would definitely say it's a Czech, Slovakian, Serbian guys. I mean, always had fun with like Kappa, Kubais, Tween. Those are like the three party meisters, I would say. Tamarillo back then as well, actually.
Yeah, Kappa also said Tamarillo.
I was with Tamarillo 2015 at GA party.
Yeah.
And we had a really sick time there. I think it was Tama so far, I would say. Those three. Access Rider is kind of a legend, to be honest, from the NES. Who else is a legend? I think I'm a legend. And yeah, I think those are the names. I hope I didn't forget anyone. Haki Jr., obviously.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, those are like the names. I would say the Czechoslovakian guys are first by far. I mean, it's still fun with everyone else,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
those are the guys who are like,
Stick out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they let it bang, basically.
They also talked, or Kappa and Tween also talked about the Nest and how good experience that was. You've also been there. What is your view on the Nest?
I think the Nest is or was one of the best lands or events, I would say, that ever happened in Trackmania or will ever happen, because simply the atmosphere was insane. It was kind of holidays with Trackmania people. I mean, obviously, not everyone likes each other. Like when you're with 16 people there, I think it was 16 people. And still, you all have the same interest. After all, it's Trackmania. You don't have to talk with everyone, you don't have to party with everyone, but it was one of the greatest events. I was to both years. There were two, I think
Yeah.
2 times, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I was both times there, and it was always great, always sick from the beginning till the end. And I think that's one of the best things ever happened in Trackmania.
So you,
I
you
mean,
hope that this sort of event comes back to Trackmania, and that might be the highlight for you in each year.
yeah, I would definitely say that's one of the highlights. But that's just because of the party and
Yeah.
social aspect, I would say. Also, I think stream-wise, it was really, really good.
Yeah, yeah.
Many people watched it. It was more like a kind of reality show. Everyone coming together, everyone casting, everyone playing, and everyone just enjoying themselves. And people get to know each other. And
Huh.
I mean, you're out for like 3 days, I think. It was 3 days, 3 or 4 days. You're with people together, with all the same people together, so you get to know each other way more, and you know them for such a long time. I've said that before from online, and then you have like 4 days with them together, party with them, do whatever you want, and do what you done the most in your past gaming years, play Trackmania. So
Yeah.
I think this was one of my highlighted events, I would say.
It will be pretty cool to have a sort of a reality show in Trackmania like ProLeague, where each week someone gets knocked out of the house and left with two people in 1v1 or something.
That would be hilarious, yeah. And I think that would be many viewers would come there. I mean, maybe not a kind of reality show, but like such an event,
Yeah.
I think it's gonna happen. Pretty
Yeah.
sure it's gonna happen next couple of years again.
Huh.
Even if it's organized by the players, it's gonna be organized. That's for sure.
Something that comes to my mind often, because I joined the game kind of late, is who people view as the best player of all time in Trackmania. What is your view on it, and who is on your top 4 in Trackmania of all time?
Ooh, I mean, to be honest, I kind of came late in the tech scene, so like late 2012, early 13. And I didn't really know like what happened before, like with WESG and all the other stuff, all the other big esport events back then. So I didn't really know the level of, for example, Karjan, Frost, and I don't know who all the other guys were, like Carl, the French Carl.
Yeah.
I want to see them nowadays in a match, or like 1 or 2 years ago would have been nice to see them in a match against the newer players. So I always respected Karjan. Frost was not always like my best friend, I would say, and I've beaten Frost as like a young player back then, like twice I think in 1v1s. I mean, it was online, but still. So I would not really count Frost in it, but definitely Kargan would be in there. Carl Jr. is, in my opinion, the number 1, because he can play every style almost, and he's the best tech player in my opinion also. Pack is pretty close as a tech player. Maybe he will even surpass this year. I think Pro League is gonna say it all. And I think I would maybe pick Tween if I can't include myself, because Tween is like, I don't know, forever there.
Yeah.
Has always been at the top. Never really won, but or maybe he won. I don't really know
Yeah,
actually.
it's won Gamers Assembly back in 2014, or I believe.
It was 14 probably. Yeah, it was 40 probably. Yeah, so I would say Tween as well. He never really made it to the very top, I would say, but he would be in there because he has always been there.
Yeah. And you talking about Kari, and I just come up with something. I think one of the reasons why I'm actually in Trackmania at the moment and sort of get motivations is because I hosted the event Weekly Short Hunt, and Season 3, both you and Karin joined and sort of gave the event publicity. What do you remember from that win, and would you call that win the most prestigious of your career, right?
For sure.
For sure, man.
Nah, it was more like I think that was like kind of my Trackmania break, or where I just want to play some, what I liked back then,
Yeah.
and that's where I came from. Short maps. Also, Karyan came from there, so
And
we've kind of found each other there, had our battle, and
you
it
wrecked him.
was
You wrecked him.
I wrecked him, and I think it was kind of a great event. But yeah, I mean, after all, I got back to kind of tech
Yeah.
and didn't really have time for the shorthand. And I think it's a great event for people who enjoy short maps. So
Yeah, let's see if someone else hosts it because I don't have too much time at the moment. But yeah, I think it's fun that people can just join and hunt them up whenever
yeah,
they want.
definitely. I think there should be the stage. You have you have a team or an org with many people in it. You play maybe short events. You
Yeah.
play kind of tech events, and then you play maybe pro league events.
Hmm.
Someday. And I think that should be the procedure for the future. And I also think it's gonna be like that. People are gonna start with short maps, get better on tech maps, and then eventually end up in Pro League.
Before we go, I need to ask you because you don't only play Trackmania. I see a lot of CS:GO popping up. What is your motivations for this game, and how would you reckon this game compared to Trackmania in your eyes?
Um, I started CS:GO back then just for fun with Bergie and Odi. Actually, that's the owner of Dignitas.
Yeah.
It was just for fun, playing some games, and then I got to know some other people. I was always a kind of competitive guy and never really played fun events like the weekly shorthand, for example. It was in my eyes just a fun event, a side event. I always liked the competition, and I wanted to get better in a game I actually play. So I played it more and more and more and more and more, and kind of got into the scene. And yeah, I would say I'm pretty damn good. I could be better, but yeah, it's not my main game, and I kind of missed it, to be honest, to get better there. I started it too late. That's my problem.
Huh.
So I'm more kind of yeah, casual, I would
Okay.
say.
When
I
most
mean,
people describe you in Trackmania, they say that you are one of the most talented guys Trackmania has ever had. Do you have this talent in other games as well, like CS:GO?
yeah, I think so. For the amount of hours, at least, I have in CS:GO, for example, um, I'm pretty good in there. Um, I play sometimes even against pros or semi-pros. Um, but yeah, it's hard to go pro in a game where you have never really been,
Yeah.
on the top. So you should have been there since the beginning. It's like Trackmania, if you're not super outstanding or like coming out of nowhere, you're not gonna end up at the top. So you have to grind your way there, and it takes many, 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 many years. And I don't have these years for CS, so yeah, I kind of gave up on going pro there. Maybe if I get super lucky one day, but I don't think so.
Is there any other games that you play? Because I remember when I had Papu on, you asked him about FIFA? Question mark. What is the reason for this?
Oh,
Are you a FIFA player as well?
no, 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 actually not. We just have like kind of meme on LAN. We always play like a few FIFA matches.
Okay.
I'm okay in there. I don't really play it. I'm not really super good, so I don't really play that game. I only play basically shooter games, like all survival games or
Hmm.
like battle royale games like PUBG.
Yep.
I'm actually quite good. I was quite good in PUBG, but I never really tried to go pro there because I thought it's useless and it's not gonna work out. But yeah, I should have maybe tried because I was really, really good there, and always been good with the mouse and the keyboard. But it's basically only CS:GO, CS:GO, Trackmania. I play some Fortnite with friends, but just for fun. Don't really enjoy it either because I'm a competitive player, and yeah, that's my games basically. I
Yeah.
don't really play much more.
So it's safe to say that your main game for the rest of your gaming career will be Trackmania.
I think I'm playing way more Counter Strike than Trackmania, just because I can play it way longer and it's more chill. Also, you don't have to always focus
Yeah.
every single second. I mean, pro I will always be, I guess, in Trackmania till whenever I retire or the game dies or the game doesn't die. and CS:GO will always be the game I play with my friends and grind with my friends. So I don't know. I guess it's always Trackmania, CS:GO, Trackmania, CS:GO, Trackmania, CS:GO. Trackmania just for the competition, for the Pro League probably, and the lands, and Counter-Strike for the fun.
We are at the 45-minute mark at the moment. Is there any topics that you want to talk about or bring up, a story, someone to talk about, a shootout, anything?
I mean, I would say thanks to everyone supporting me in the past couple of years, through good times, through bad times, and keep doing what you do. I also want to thank, I would say, especially Bergie and Spam, like I've mentioned before. They've always been really good friends, always been together with them in teams. And also Roa, he kind of left us lately. Betrayed. Nah, but yeah, he has also always been a good guy, and all my former teammates. And yeah, I hope I can do great things, bring more viewers maybe also with my work, more publicity, and I hope the game will grow for everyone and everyone will get something out of it eventually.
And let's hope that you win Giant Cup and Trackmania Pro League. So my prediction for Player of the Year 2018 is correct, and that in fact you will win it.
I will give my best. I will give my best.
I see you in Paris, man, and see you next time for all the people listening.